For more on this, Anna Hansell joins us from London. She's a professor of environmental epidemiology at the University of Leicester. Thanks so much for your company on the programme today.
Thank you.
Anna, do you think we will forget, as my colleague was saying there, we've seen beautiful sea, clean air here in Istanbul. Has the pandemic really changed our awareness of environmental issues?
I think the good thing about it, and we have to cling on to the good things about the current situation, is that we've been able to look at how life could be different. And we've seen it can be different even in our cities that we think are so sort of congested and full of people and business as usual, that we would never experience what we've been experiencing. So in London, people have been saying, I can hear the birds singing because the noise has dropped because of the drop in traffic. People with asthma are saying, my symptoms are a lot better during lockdown because they're not being exposed to air pollution. And, we've seen these sort of fantastic falls in air pollution visibly. Your scene of the Great Wall was a nice illustration of that. But even the lower levels that we've been seeing in less polluted cities have been enough for people to notice the difference in their health. And certainly, I think there are lots of levels that we can take this forward and say, we want a different world. And that can be done at a government level in terms of thinking how the economies are refloated and being able to do that in a green way. We can do it locally. So in Leicester, we're working with the local government, talking about how we can change our transport strategies locally to encourage people to cycle more and walk more and get in the car less. And then I think individually, we can also think about how we might make changes to our life so that we can appreciate nature and the way in which we live better.
It really feels like it really is a window of opportunity now to make that difference. But do you think policymakers will enact policy to change the way we look at our environment and the biodiversity, as is the theme on this year's World Environment Day?
I think it needs a lot of pressure and continued reminders that this is important and people find it important. So, I think there's some lip service that's being paid at the moment to having a green future, and it's not being tied through into targets. And I think that targets are very, very important. So I think there is a risk that it won't turn into reality. And I think there's also a risk that people will just race into trying to get back to how things were before and refloating the economy. And I think when we're trying to, refloat the economy, we do need to think not just about the big business, but also small business that's connected with the local environment, because we know from various research that the more people are connected to their local environment, then that they have a incentive to ensure that it's maintained and it is good for living in.
And we have just a minute to go, but how do you think the pandemic has really changed the way we look at the environment?
As I said before, it's given us a real view into what life could be like if we live differently in terms of the pollution in our environment. And I think it's also shown us that, nature can stop our world. And that's the real concern at the moment, is what we're doing to the planet is we're now entering another mass extinction phase, the sixth mass extinction. So the last one was the extinction of the dinosaurs. So, gives us pause for thought. If what we're doing to the environment can lead to situations like the global pandemic, I mean, this sort of the biodiversity loss is something that could threaten everybody's livelihood. It's not something that we can work through in a couple of years. So I think it's given us a real wake-up call to how things can change very quickly if we start messing about with the environment.
And that's an important thing to remember. Biodiversity loss, very shocking indeed. Anna Hansell from the University of Leicester, thank you very much for coming on the programme, and we wish you a very happy World Environment Day. Thank you.